Welcome back to the Ross Bolen podcast. I bet you can guess my name. I'm here with producer Cade. Cade, say hello to the people.
Hello, people.
I would like to start today's show with some very important announcements. First, I have once again made the bold and brave decision to take the case off my iPhone. So now, any moment could be my phone screen's last. And that makes me feel alive. People are calling me a bad boy, a rebel without a cause, and a reckless hooligan who should be locked up for his dangerous behavior. It's hard to disagree with any of those three labels. I have had this phone for months now without obtaining a single solitary scratch due to the so-called protective case I purchased when I was at the Apple store. But I'm a 35-year-old dad/stepdad who basically wakes up, goes to work, comes home, does parenting stuff, goes to sleep, and then repeats that cycle over and over. So I needed some adventure in my life, and this is it. People look down on phone freedom as some sort of irresponsible behavior, but truth be told, I'm letting my phone be who it was always meant to be without altering its look or adding any bulk or suppressing its beauty with some clunky case that hides its naturally sexy physique. And sure, this lifestyle choice might eventually cost me a substantial amount of money, which could perhaps cut into my ability to buy diapers for my newborn son or even pay the mortgage on my house when the screen inevitably cracks and I cough up my life savings to have it fixed or replaced, even though I have Apple Care, which nobody really understands how it works, just like all insurance. But the excitement I feel in the meantime makes it all worth the so-called risk. I am alive, and I am living my best life to the fullest without being held back by some faux leather fuckery that constricts my phone like a straitjacket. Some people ride motorcycles. Some people go skydiving. Some people go bungee jumping. Some people rock climb without ropes. Some people have promiscuous sex without condoms. Some people shoot up with used needles. Some people put their Tesla in self-driving mode in a school zone. Some people buy scratch-off lottery tickets daily. I don't put a case on my celly. You're all jealous. You all know it, and nothing you can do or say can stop me from allowing my phone to live naked and free like a nudist playing pickleball. Please respect my decision and my family's privacy during this difficult transition period. Thank you.
Did you make this decision like last night or something? Because I remember like earlier this week you did have the case on your phone, and I noticed that because I know you are team no case, and then like today you handed me your phone to order lunch, and I noticed the case was off.
When I got the new phone, I bought a case with it because the main reason for purchasing the phone was for the new camera. I wanted to be able to take pictures of RJ and have them be as high quality as possible, and I didn't want to break it in the couple of months between me getting the phone and him being born. And then in the past month and a half or so, since he's been alive, I've been sort of faltering back and forth. Like I would live one day on the edge with the phone case off, and then like the next day I would get self-conscious about it. I would let peer pressure and societal standards drive me back to putting the case on, which is why you've probably noticed a little bit of back and forth. But then yes, last night I made the brave and bold decision.
You're all in again on the
and I've gone back all in, and I just wanted everybody to know. So I don't want to have to be fielding questions every day. Hey, I noticed your phone case is off. What's going on? Are you okay? I'm okay. I'm just living free, like Kid Rock would want me to be.
I wish I could be team no case. I've done it in the past, and I do like it more, but like I always feel like I'm gonna like the pockets. Like I always like my phone always falls out of my pockets when I'm in the car, and I've had it like fall. Like my phone now has a crack on like the bottom of the screen. I have a screen protector too. Didn't do anything. Like the screen protector is like coming off.
Never had one of those. Feel like that's a complete racket.
I think it's a huge waste of money because like clearly you can see like it's
well,
just
it changes the whole feel of your phone, and that's the real appeal of being team no phone case. Is that it is undeniably sexier. Not only like the design of the phone and like you can see the full thing as it was meant to look, but like when you're holding it, it just feels cooler. It's like smoking a cigarette. You know it's dangerous. You know it's probably not the right move, but it's just so fucking cool.
You don't care. Yeah, you're a bad boy.
You just can't help yourself sometimes,
Absolutely.
you know?
Right.
So yeah, this is where I'm at. I've always wondered with the phone screen protector thing, because like when you're at the Apple store and you buy a new phone, and they're like, you want to get a case for the phone, and they like take you over to the wall of cases.
Mm-hmm.
They help you pick one out, and they're like, you need yourself a screen protector, and it's like, what the fuck? What is that even doing? I did it once in college.
Clearly nothing for my phone because it didn't work.
Yours is like peeling off too.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you got to get rid of that thing, Cade. You're restricting yourself.
Yeah, I need to, but like it has like a little crack in the bottom. I'm afraid if I take it off, like the glass is gonna
all fall off.
Fall off, yeah. So it's kind of like holding on for dear life. I do have Apple Care, but like you said, I have no idea what it does.
Nobody does.
So like I kind of want to see like how you can like get a new one. Like,
well, I mean, dude, I've had times where like I think I used to talk about it on the show. In fact, famously, I had like 6 trips to the Apple store in a row where I was like, "Hey, there's something wrong with my phone," and they were like, "Oh yeah, here's a brand new one," and I was like, "Okay," like just like free of charge, like here's another phone, screw it. And then more recently, in the past few years, when I've had a cracked screen or an issue or whatever, and I go in there, they're like, "Yeah, that'll be like $99.99 because you have Apple Care," or you have to sell us back this phone and then you can buy another phone at a discount. Like it's always something.
Right, yeah.
So I don't really know how Apple Care works. I just know I pay for it.
Yeah, I pay for it too and don't get the benefits of it.
That's how insurance works, man.
Yep.
The whole thing, the whole system is ridiculous. I'm 35 years old. I've been paying for my own health insurance for 4 years now, as of this month. I have absolutely no clue how it works. And every year, they make me go back into the little, whatever it is, Obamacare system and pick one. And I just pick the cheapest, shittiest one.
Yep.
And then one day I'm going to get hit by a car and it's going to backfire on me horribly.
Yeah, like I just started like having to buy my own health insurance. Like I'm 25. Well, I was supposed to be on it. Like I think you're on it until you're 25, but I had to do it a year early.
Oh, you can be on your parents until you're 25. Yeah.
And I was on my dad's, but he retired last year. So I had to like find my own plan when I was 24, and I just picked the cheapest one. Wasn't covered on anything. Even like the plan I'm on now, not covered for anything.
Yeah, it's like the bronze F package.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're wondering, why doesn't Bolen Media provide Cade with health insurance? It's because not enough of you have told your friends and family about the show. Don't put it on me. It's on you, the listener, or the viewer if you're on youtube.com/@the_Ross_Bolen_podcast. Tell your friends and family about what we've got going on here. And maybe one day, Cade and I won't have to be on the bronze F package of health insurance that only covers you if you're like hit by a meteor or something. You brought up the pocket problem. And first of all, I read this recently. Apparently, as men, we are not, like if you've got a dick and balls and you plan on reproducing one day, you're not supposed to put your phone in your pocket at all. Like it's bad for your sperm count. Like proven scientifically, not a rumor anymore, a real thing. Like we're not supposed to put our phones in our pockets that are right next to our, nutsack with the testicles in there.
Back pocket it?
Because they make the cum. I don't know if you knew that, kid, if you paid attention in science class, but your balls, they make the cum.
Huh.
I don't know if
that's news to me.
I don't know if your back pocket is the move, because that sucks. You're sitting on it.
Yeah,
it's
then
like,
you're sitting on it.
I don't even like putting my wallet in my back pocket. I don't understand how people live that life. It throws off your balance.
And I'm always like shorts or joggers.
Yeah.
Unless I'm going out. But.
And this is the argument for cargo shorts or cargo pants. It is, because that pocket's down there like by your knee.
I'm thinking about doing like the fanny pack situation, just like have everything like in there. Like I do it for like music festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
Or, like when I went to the F1 race, I just had the fanny pack, just keep everything on you. It's like right in front of you.
Yeah, as long as you keep it taut and like above the waistline or
I like
the
to
waistline.
do it like around the shoulder, so
okay,
it's like
that's
hanging
good.
like
yeah,
right in
on
front
the chest.
of me. Yeah.
You just can't let it sag down to your testes.
No.
Because that's when the future of the world is at risk. Everybody used to joke about like when cell phones first got hot in the early 2000s and shit, like, we don't even know what these do yet, man. We're probably all going to get brain cancer.
Yeah.
Well, now we do know one of the things that they do, and it's that they're taking away our sperm count. So, just something to keep your eyes on, your balls, with your phone. Anyway, naked and free. One of the ways I've been combating sleep deprivation with a newborn without having to absolutely drown myself in coffee and deal with the hardcore crash in the afternoon is Magic Mind. And wouldn't you know it, today's episode is brought to you by Magic Mind. Obviously, parents of newborns deal with being tired mostly by upping their coffee intake. But as someone who gets jittery and anxious when I have more than 1 or 2 cups, I've been looking for something to help me maintain my energy and focus throughout the day in a more effective way. That's where Magic Mind comes in. I've been taking it right after my morning coffee for several weeks now and have found it to be incredibly helpful at keeping my energy and focus up without the devastating crash that several cups of coffee usually brings me. It comes in these little bitty bottles. It's like a little shot you just toss back. I keep them in my fridge right next to the coffee maker, grab one every morning with my coffee, down it right after I finish my cup. Magic Mind contains matcha, which extends the benefits of caffeine by slowing your body's ability to absorb it, as well as a compound called L-theanine, which reduces stress. These compounds work together to prevent the spike in cortisol levels and the inevitable crash that comes with ingesting too much coffee. Matcha is basically nature's extended release version of caffeine. It also contains Bacopa monnieri, a nootropic that improves your attention span, your ability to process and learn new information, and your memory, as well as ashwagandha, an adaptogen that reduces stress and anxiety, plus a bunch of other great ingredients you can read about on magicmind.co/RBP. I've found I'm more productive, more creative, and more calm while staying energized, all without the crash that too much coffee brings. Just go to magicmind.co/RBP today and get up to 56% off your subscription for the next 10 days with my code RBP20. That's MAGICMAIND, magicmind.co/RBP, code RBP20 for up to 56% off your subscription for the next 10 days, or 20% off one-time purchases. Support the show and your mind at the same damn time with Magic Mind. Now for some more announcements. A few days ago, it was announced that Netflix's beloved viral sketch comedy show, I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson, will release its 3rd season on May 30th, 2023. Well, today, I am announcing that after years of seeing memes made from this show's sketches and seeing jokes from the show tweeted and being sent clips from the show without context and wondering what the hell I was watching, I finally broke and watched the first 2 seasons in their entirety over a few-day stretch last week. And it had gotten to the point where I legitimately felt like I was the last person on earth who hadn't seen this show. And that sentiment has only grown based on the amount of people responding to my tweets about watching it. But over a several-week period, it just built up where I had multiple friends send me individual YouTube videos of one sketch that were like, you got to watch this. And I watched it and I was like, what? What was that? Because without context and without really understanding the show and watching it and getting a feel for it, the one-off sketches are just bizarre, right? It's like the weirdest thing you've ever seen. And then I went on the Circling Back podcast with my friends at Washed Media, and they did a whole segment built around the Dangerous Nights crew from that particular sketch of I Think You Should Leave. And I was incredibly confused by that because the night before, one of their hosts, Dave, sent me the Dangerous Nights crew sketch with the sloppy steaks, and I was like, what the fuck is this? What am I watching? This is absurd. And as I said on Elon's app, I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson is up there with The Rehearsal as one of the most insane things I have ever seen now. Just completely ridiculous. Nathan Fielder is the comedian that did The Rehearsal on HBO. If you're familiar with Nathan For You is his other show, and it's just extremely awkward comedy. But as far as I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson, perhaps nothing has ever made me feel more stoned when I'm not.
The first time I watched, so I'm a huge fan of this show, and it's kind of the reason I'm on this episode today, because I saw you tweet something about how you're going to talk about I Think You Should Leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, I literally have to be on the show today.
Yeah, you said, how could you possibly not include me on the episode? This is my favorite TV show, basically.
Yeah, and then I included the a GIF from I Think You Should Leave. And I said, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
No. But yeah, the first time I ever watched it, I was very sober, and I did feel like I was just so stoned watching it. And then when it was I watched it when it first came out. I was one of the first few people that was on it before it became mainstream. And I showed my friends.
That's the most hipster shit you've ever said. But yeah. So like the first season dropped in 2019, right? Like it was like right before the pandemic.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And so like I showed all my friends it, and like we just like watched that show like nonstop for a month straight. Like we were just quoting everything line by line, and even like we just like take little things from like the skits and like how they like pronounce things.
Yep.
And we would just like say it like how they would. So like for example, the printer one, when like they say like, oh, Santa brought it early or whatever.
Yeah, they got a new printer at the office.
She like says early like in such a weird way, and so like anytime like I'd be talking with my friends and when we would say early, she says early like early, like really early, and like we just like enunciate like even more. So like it'd be a point where you say early and be like like just stuff like that, or like the motorcycle one where he says and there's a lot of other stuff too. Just saying too like that. Like, yeah, just great stuff.
Yeah, that's the strange thing about this show is that it seems to provide like not only the quotables, right? Like people love dropping the one-liners, and it's also these weird pronunciations of words that Tim Robinson includes, or like the voices that he does, right?
Just like yelling and stuff like that.
But he'll be talking completely normally, and then I break into this crazy voice. Like he just starts doing the weirdest voices out of nowhere for no reason. It reminds me of like Dune, like do the voice. That's Tim Robinson on the show for some reason. But yeah, no, as I worked my way through the first season, there's 2 seasons available on Netflix currently, right? The third one comes out in May, like I said. But like I felt like my brain was melting inside my skull for the first few episodes. Like I was just like, what? Which is exactly what all Nathan Fielder comedy does to me too. And I mean, it is a weird show. Like typically with great sketch comedy shows, which I think this show now qualifies as through 2 seasons, you have really, really funny sketches followed by like the most idiotic shit you have ever seen in your life that doesn't even get you to crack a smile, followed by a sketch that nearly has you pissing yourself laughing. And like that's the way the cookie crumbles. Even with Chappelle's Show, which was the definitive sketch comedy show of my generation, you had some skits that would end and you'd just be sitting there during the commercial break like, what the hell did I just watch? And if you're like, what the fuck is a commercial break? It was the ads that ran during breaks from the show. Like when you watch sports now, you know, and their advertisements during timeouts or between quarters or whatever, that was a commercial break. But
this show also has ads on it too.
Yeah, I love that. It's like that's a very Saturday Night Live or like Mad TV style thing to do.
I don't know if you knew this, but Tim Robinson was like a writer and actor on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so a couple of the sketches that he made for Saturday Night Live didn't like air, like they weren't gonna shoot them.
Right.
So he just like took those sketches and then put them in this show. And you can definitely like see like some of them that like, oh, that could have been an SNL sketch for sure.
Well, it's funny because you probably can bet that SNL was like, Tim, this doesn't translate to a wide enough mainstream audience. And that's what I would have assumed if you'd shown me like season 1 of this show and asked me, hey, will a massive amount of people be on board with this? I probably would have told you, I don't know. I don't think so. But that's kind of the magic of the show is I think due to like the pandemic and COVID and everybody being stuck in the house, like it just sort of was the perfect time for something like this to come out. But Tim Robinson is basically like if you took all those weird ass Adult Swim cartoons you used to watch late night in college when you were drunk or stoned, and you condensed all of those Adult Swim cartoons down into one living human being. That is Tim Robinson. It's awkward. It's absurd. Most of the time, it doesn't make a bit of fucking sense. And it's amazing. Like, you'll finish watching one of the sketches, and like, if you had to say, like, what was the point of that sketch, most of the time, you couldn't provide a point because there isn't one. And in a world where everything is seemingly getting more and more serious, less and less funny, and less fun on a daily basis, we need Tim Robinson's silliness to stay sane. And I think that's a big part of why the show has been so successful, because it's so silly and so absurd and nonsensical that it's a beautiful break from the harsh realities of this modern hellscape. Or maybe I just love it because I used to be a piece of shit, and people can change.
People can change, Ross.
People can change. And now, a list of my personal favorite sketches from the first 2 seasons in no particular order, okay? The Bones Are Their Money. where the dude's trying to do like a Johnny Cash style
Yeah,
song and he keeps
that's
chiming
one
in.
of my favorites too. And I love at the end when like they're done singing the song, and the producer or whatever says we were like more interested in what Billy was singing, and Tim Robinson goes, Billy as in him or Billy as in me? And the guy says, wait, your name's Billy too? He's like, no, that's why I'm so fucking confused.
It's an all-time line. It's so fucking good.
And then he
dude.
says, like, yeah, the bones are their money, and so are the worms.
So are the worms. Oh, it's
like
good
in
stuff.
the first time, like he breaks out into like his own song. It's so great.
The look on the other guy's face is also like, a lot of the time you're watching the sketches and it feels like he populated the rest of the sketch with like stock photo actors. Like people that you'd see in a stock photo for like a business ad or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I watched like the first season again last night, and I was just like kind of paying attention
Like
to like
the whole season?
Oh yeah, I got through that. I mean, like the show,
it's short,
are really short, so like I was able to fly through them. But yeah, I was just like paying attention to like the background actors and stuff because like I never really like focused on them. I'm like, he just got like the most like normal like he just like pulled him off the street or something.
It's one of the things that makes these really fun, and I think I had the same thing when I watched Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like Larry David or Tim Robinson, like explaining to the actors that he's hired, like, all right, and now here's what's going to happen in this scene, and you get the feeling that on set they're probably like, what? Like what? We're doing what? But yeah, the bones of their money, all time. Coffin flop is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Just like coffin after coffin breaking and the body falling
just
through.
body after body, just breaking through wood and hitting shit pavement, or
But
breaking
the bodies hit the floor. Focus group.
Was that the car one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Phenomenal. Prank show with Carl Havoc, of course, that's the one that spawned the most memes that I kept seeing that made me ask, okay, what is this show? The photos of Carl Havoc, where I was just like, what is that?
That's too much fucking shit on him. Doesn't want to be around anymore.
I've got too much fucking shit on.
And like that one, like it seemed like he literally just went into a mall, like everyone else.
I think
was,
it was real. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was like he was legitimately in a mall dressed like that, and nobody else was aware of what was happening.
No one came up to him. No one like said anything. They just kind of like all watched and like just lose.
Nobody would go up to
shit.
that.
Yeah,
He looks like a melted candle. It's terrifying. No, absolutely
he's like
nobody
absolutely
would go to
like
that.
jacked too for some reason. He's
He's
like this
fucking
old guy
huge.
and he's just huge.
I don't want to be around anymore. Ghost Tour was another one that was phenomenal. I love the ending, how he goes out to get in his mom's car. His mom's picking him up, and she's like, "Did you make any friends today?" He's like, "Not really."
My favorite line from that one is like when he comes out of the room with the tour guide, and like I think someone asked another question, and then like he like slowly raises his hand and
He's like crying still.
He's crying, and he's like not trying to make anyone have like the worst day on their job, but do any of these. And then he just takes the longest pause, and he just says, "Fuckers, ever pop out of the wall and just have a cum shot?"
And if you're listening right now and you've never watched this show, this is exactly how it goes until you do. You're not going to know what anybody's talking about. You just have to watch it. That's the only way I know how to put it.
Like my friends, we would quote it all the time, and like we'd be around like other people, and they just like didn't have a fucking clue what we were talking about.
I think that's another part of what makes it fun and special is that it's like you couldn't possibly get it unless you watched the whole thing, like all of it. So people hear you talk about it or doing jokes about it or sharing memes from it, and they're like, all right, I want to be in on this eventually. Even if it's just out of sheer annoyance. Like that was like 50% of it for me. I was just like, enough. I can't take it anymore. I need to see what this is all about. So I started watching it at home, and my wife would be sitting next to me on the couch, and after every single sketch, she would look over at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? What are you putting on in our house?
Yeah, I feel like people either absolutely love the show or just can't stand it.
There's no in between.
No.
Yeah. It's largely, I feel like this discussion broke out in one of my text groups with my high school buddies yesterday. Like all of our significant others, wives, girlfriends, they all hate it. They're all like, what is this? This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Why are you watching this? My wife's looking at me like nursing the baby, looking at me like, how could you possibly expose our son to this?
Your shit, and then she's just like,
she's just losing
so
her
put up
respect
with
for
it,
me. Yeah. Yeah. Ghost tour all time. Gift receipt is a great one where he eats the receipt and then accuses the guy that handed him the receipt of having improperly wiped his ass beforehand and then it made him sick and then the whole party turns on that guy.
Mud pie. Did you use too small a slice?
Why would you call it a mud pie? Who talks like that? Baby shower is a great one, and that's enough. Everyone has done this. Every single person I'm aware of that has watched the show has gone on to tweet or Instagram or podcast their definitive list of their favorite episodes, and that's all that I can give you right now.
Yeah, no, I could probably just like go through every single sketch and just like
truth be told,
quote the whole thing.
We could do an hour podcast, easy, just me and Cade talking about I Think You Should Leave, and I've only watched it one time through. And it's one of those things that I'm already ready to go back and watch it again because another reason I Think You Should Leave is so popular. The episodes are like 15 minutes long, man.
Yeah.
And we live in the TikTok world now where everything needs to be a damn clip or a soundbite. And Tim Robinson, whether it's intentional or not, caters his show to the Zoomers who have an attention span of a fucking gnat. And I can appreciate that as a very busy businessman with a limited amount of time, free time. All that being said, I will still spend the rest of my life trying to figure out why the fuck anyone would pour a glass of water onto a steak.
It's just really good. I don't know what to tell you. But if you are a fan of I Think You Should Leave and you like want more, and like I know he's coming out with the new season May 30th, but there's also another show on Netflix called The Characters, and it's like each episode is like an actor, like a comedian, and they do a bunch of like skits and stuff. And Tim Robinson has an episode, and it's just like another episode of I Think You Should Leave. So if you like want to check that out, you can. Then he also has another show called The Detroiters.
Yeah, I've had both of these, both the Characters episode and The Detroiters sent to me by people on Twitter because like his fan base is ravenous. Like, you tweet about this show, and it'll be like 20 people being like, gotta check out this episode from The Characters. Gotta check out The Detroiters. Here's another Tim Robinson sketch I found on YouTube that's not included on either of those or his show. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, calm down.
We just can't get enough of it. We just want more of Tim Robinson's content, you know?
Yeah.
We just can't get enough.
The guys...
I do love, like, both of those. Like, the Detroiters mostly, like, it's, like, more episodic, I would say. But he does do, like, some little, like, commercials and stuff, like, sprinkled in between. It's, him and Sam Richardson, who's like been in a couple of the I Think You Should Leave sketches. He was the Baby of the Year host, and
yeah, that dude's great.
Yeah, so he's been in a bunch of stuff recently.
Baby of the Year.
He's really talented, I think. But yeah, check those out as well.
He's just such a weird looking dude. He looks kind of like a lizard or something.
He loves to sing so much, and like I just really appreciate that. And even though he's like really bad, and like he knows he's bad, but he just doesn't care.
Oh, you talking about the Richardson guy?
No, actually he sings a lot too.
He does.
The Detroiters,
he's pretty good.
He's good, but no, Tim Robinson, not as good, but he doesn't care because he will still sing his heart out.
Guy's a nut. All right, time for a trash or not trash. A listener on Twitter named Andrew sent me this. He said, trash or not trash, when you're in a drive-thru and they ask you to pull ahead or into a pickup spot and you politely decline with a no thank you and remain at the window waiting for your food. Okay, so first of all, I need someone who has actually worked in a fast food window to get at me and explain why this happens. Like, I know there are some potentially obvious reasons. Like, is it that my order is going to take a minute or two longer and there's two cars behind me who only ordered sides or a milkshake or some shit? Like, isn't all the food supposed to be fast? Why is this happening? I did not agree to this shit when I pulled into the drive-thru line. If I wanted to sit around waiting for my food not in a line, I would have come inside the goddamn restaurant and ordered face-to-face, then taken a seat at a table. How dare you violate the sacred drive-thru contract by asking me to pull forward and being a pariah who was mocked by the rest of the drive-thru participants? That being said, holding up the rest of the line and likely being assaulted by a fast food window worker for refusing to pull forward or park in a pickup spot is an absolutely egregious move that cannot be tolerated. And therefore, it is trash. Especially if you ordered like a very large, like $50 plus worth of food, and you knew your order was huge, and you still chose the drive-thru over going inside. Like, I would go so far as to put this in the same trash category as flipping someone off in traffic. You're just letting your emotions get the best of you, and you're putting yourself in danger. And if it's not the fast food worker at the window whooping your ass, it might be like the drunk, starving freak show in the car behind you getting out, pulling you out of your driver's side window and stomping on your pelvis in public. And you don't want that. Just pull forward, you absolute psychopath. We live in a society. But seriously, that being said, I do want an answer on why this happens.
Yeah, it's just something that, like, isn't a big deal. So, like, I don't know why you'd be so upset by that. Like, you literally just have to pull forward a few.
Yeah, but have you ever, this is what happens. All it takes is one bad experience where they go, all right, sir, it's just going to be an extra minute or two for your order. If you wouldn't mind pulling forward, and we'll bring your order right out to you. All it takes is the one time that happens, and then it isn't just a few minutes, like it's like 20 minutes and you're sitting there in your car like, what the fuck? And then you eventually have to get out of your car and go inside and go, hey, you told me to pull forward. I'm waiting out here and you still haven't brought my order out. This happened to me one time. I was with my mom. She was driving. I was like 13 years old in the back seat. And I'll never forget that. And it ruined it for me. It ruined this entire concept for me. Because you don't know, man. Like when you're sitting at the window, you feel like they're beholden to serve you still. Like you're right there. They can see you, so they can't, it's like the out of sight, out of mind thing. Once you pull forward, they're like, fuck that guy, never bringing his food out. And then you're screwed.
Yeah, that's fair, I would say, but I don't know.
But normally,
I haven't had
this
this happen in so long, so I feel like they're kind of more on top of their shit with it, maybe.
It depends. Depends on where I'm at, too.
Depends where you go, but.
If a Popeyes asks me to pull forward, I know something is going horribly wrong in there. Because they don't give a shit. They'll just grab random items and throw them in your bag and hand it to you. So if they're asking you to pull forward, they're plotting something even more evil in there. You just got to be careful. You got to be careful. That's all I'm saying. But seriously, it's almost like a Tim Robinson sketch. If somebody, or Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm, like, sir, could you pull forward and give us a minute, to be like, no, thank you. And just sit there? I wonder what they would do.
Yeah, I'm sure like a Larry David episode, like he would just like run into that drive-through worker again that like he pissed off or whatever too. Like that's kind of like how I feel like a lot of the Curb episodes go.
He
like,
wrongs someone and then he needs them for some reason later on and they won't help him or do whatever.
It's like, aren't you the asshole that like got mad at me because I told you to pull forward?
The bald asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today's episode is also brought to you by Talkspace. Do you think seeing a therapist or psychiatrist would be helpful, but you don't have the time to actually find one and meet with them or afford them? Try Talkspace. By doing everything online, Talkspace has made getting the help you want easy, accessible, and affordable. Talkspace offers both therapy and psychiatry, and being able to reach out to your provider anytime, anywhere, makes taking care of your mental health super easy. Working through things in therapy can be tough, but connecting with your therapist won't be with Talkspace. Talkspace lets you send messages to your dedicated therapist in the Talkspace platform, which allows you to update them on the challenges and triumphs you're facing in real time, so you don't have to wait for your next session. With Talkspace, you set your goals with your therapist and they hold you accountable and make sure you are really progressing. Therapy can help you shift your perspective, find tools to cope in difficult times, and be a guiding light through life. I've been in therapy for over a decade, cannot more highly recommend it, but I understand it can be daunting to get started. Getting started is way less daunting with Talkspace. They make connecting with a licensed therapist easy so you can stop setting aside your own mental well-being. Wholeheartedly recommend Talkspace for therapy. You can sign up online and get a personalized match with a provider that's right for you, typically within 48 hours. You can text, video, or send voice messages to your licensed therapist, so it's incredibly convenient to have virtual sessions from the comfort of your home. And as a listener of the Ross Bolen podcast, you'll get $100 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and use code RBP. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com, use code RBP to get $100 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's code RBP at Talkspace.com. Time for some insane headlines of the day. First up, Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos won't stop fucking, so Colombia wants to move them out of the country. Cocaine hippos. More from CBS News. Colombia is proposing transferring at least 70 hippopotamuses that live near Pablo Escobar's former ranch, descendants of 4 imported from Africa illegally by the late drug lord in the 1980s, to India and Mexico as part of a plan to control their population. So, for starters, Pablo Escobar, infamous cocaine trafficker in Colombia, He had a ranch, okay? He imported 4 hippos from Africa illegally in the 1980s. That's where we start, all right? And these are the so-called cocaine hippos. They weigh up to 3 tons. They have spread far beyond the Hacienda Nápoles Ranch, which is Escobar's ranch. It's located about 125 miles from Bogota along the Magdalena River. And it says environmental authorities estimate there are about 130 hippos in the area now. And their population could reach 400 in 8 years. So again, he bought 4. Now there are 130. It's like a freaking hippopotamus army out here near Pablo Escobar's former ranch. And it says his ranch and the hippos have become a sort of local tourist attraction in the years since the kingpin was killed by police in 1993. When his ranch was abandoned, the hippos survived and reproduced in local rivers in favorable climatic conditions. Scientists warn the hippos do not have a natural predator in Colombia and are a potential problem for biodiversity since their feces change the composition of the rivers and could impact the habitat of manatees and capybaras. Capybaras? Whatever. Last year, Colombia's government declared these hippos a toxic invasive species, and in 2021, after the Colombian government was sued over its plan to sterilize or kill the animals, a federal court ruled that the hippos can be recognized as people or interested persons with legal rights in the U.S. But that order does not carry any weight in Colombia, where the hippos live, a legal expert said. In Africa, hippos cause more human deaths than any other large animal. So far, there are no known attacks in Colombia, it says, but David Echeverri, who works with the environmental agency in charge of tracking and managing the hippos in the region, told somebody that it's only a matter of time until someone gets hurt. The plan to take them to India and Mexico has been forming for more than a year, according to the Director of Animal Protection and Welfare. And it says the hippos would be lured with food into large iron containers and transferred by truck to the international airport in the city of Rio Negro, 150 kilometers away. From there, they would be flown to India and Mexico, where there are sanctuaries and zoos capable of taking in and caring for the animals. This feels like at the beginning of Jurassic Park when they try to move the velociraptors and then people get eaten. Shoot her! Shoot her! Like that's what you, how are they luring them into large crates with food? I don't know, man. I've seen a hippo swim at full speed after a boat. Everybody's seen that clip, right? You ever seen that clip like on Instagram where it's like this group on a little boat, like a little, like safari tour guide boat, and they're in some hippo waters, and they're like, oh, look at the hippo. And then the hippo gets pissed off and starts going at the boat, and the boat, like, full speed ahead to get out of there, and the hippo is keeping up with it. It is terrifying. To take it back to Jurassic Park, it's like when the T-Rex is chasing them in that car. But, are
we going to get a cocaine hippo movie here soon?
I mean, I think the odds are higher right now
than they've ever been
with
before.
Cocaine Bear crushing it in theaters. Apparently that movie is like really fun. Like,
I mean, I would assume so. Like,
this is one of those things about what's the name of that other film? It's a horror movie that is out about that doll.
Is it Megan?
Yes.
Okay.
So when I saw the trailer for Megan, I was like, well, that looks like the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And then I started seeing reviews, and all the reviews were like, Megan is a surprisingly fun film. And I was like, wait, what? It seems like reviewers and movie critics are finally starting to see that, like, not everything is trying to be serious. Like, some things are just for fun, right?
Right.
And Cocaine Bear certainly falls into that category. But yeah, it's been getting, like, pretty positive reviews in terms of being a fun movie-going experience. I want to go see it.
Yeah, I'll probably wait till that one comes out on, like, HBO Max or something. But yeah, I do want to see that one.
I mean, yeah, I'll go see it in my living room.
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually, when it's streaming. Yeah. Next headline. New York Yankees charge players for in-flight Wi-Fi on team plane. All right, this is from Sports Illustrated, who I would note has blocked me on Twitter. Remember when Arian Foster was on Macrodosing, the Barstool podcast that he does with PFT commentator, and him and PFT did a bit about how the NFL season is scripted.
Oh, yeah.
And that went viral as hell. Everybody got in on the joke. Sports Illustrated tweeted out an article. This is like hours into it, right? Where if you're in, everyone with a functioning brain cell has figured out at this point that Arian was joking. Okay, multiple time guest of our show here, RBP, Arian Foster, and Sports Illustrated tweeted out something taking it seriously, and I just replied, "He was doing a bit, you fucking morons," or something like that, and they immediately blocked me. Like immediately blocked me. Which is, it's like, what? The Sports Illustrated? It's not even, like, I'd understand if it was an individual person's account and I said that. Like, block me for sure. I earned it. But you don't expect brands to respond that way. Like,
they're also, like making false claims about it.
They were doing the clickbait thing, you know? It's like, fuck you guys. But anyway, Sports Illustrated has kind of become trash. That used to be the go-to sports publication when I was a kid, dude. Like, Sports Illustrated would show up, the physical magazine, in the mail, and I would be stoked and sit down and read it cover to cover. Like, it was amazing. And now it's just, like, they're one of those brands that did not properly transition with the digital media age. And now they're so bitter about it that they're just blocking people all willy-nilly on Twitter.
Yeah, I used to get the Sports Illustrated, but, like, I just got them for, like, the cards and, like, the back of the magazine.
Oh, yeah.
I always, like, would collect those. I didn't, like, I was pretty young, so I didn't, like, read them too much, but
little do they know I've got like 6 Twitter accounts, so blocking one of them doesn't really do shit. I just switch over to another one. It takes 5 seconds, and then I'm reading your shit again. You
could do that with Darren Ravel too, right?
Yeah, it's just not as fun.
Not as fun. Yeah.
The whole thing with him was I liked trolling him. I liked baiting him into replying to my tweets, which happened several times before he blocked me. And now that's what I miss, really. Like, I went too far. I shot too many shots in too short of a time frame with Darren Ravel. I should have spaced it out more and been more patient, but I got greedy, Cade, and that's a lesson for all of you listening. But from Sports Illustrated, Garrett Cole had dreamed of playing for the Yankees since he was a kid, and in so many ways, the experience has been exactly what children envision. The crisp pinstripes, the retired numbers, the bleacher creatures. What?
That's what they call their fans?
That's the stuff he was really looking forward to. But one thing surprised him when he got to New York after signing a 9-year, $324 million deal before the 2020 season. The 4th most valuable franchise in sports charges players for internet access on the team plane. Technically, it's Delta that does the charging, approximately $9 per flight. Delta also offers free iMessage and WhatsApp. But the Yankees, whom Forbes estimates are worth $6 billion, do not cover the cost. A person familiar with the prices of such things said an in-flight Wi-Fi plan for one team for 1 year costs approximately $40,000, or about the price of 4 Garrett Cole pitches. No wonder they can't get back to the World Series, though. This is truly sad.
That's pocket change. That's literally nothing.
It's literally 4 Garrett Cole pitches. 4. By the way, they haven't been to the World Series since they signed Cole. In fact, they haven't been to the World Series in, I think, over a decade now. Sad.
Yeah, so I'm a Cleveland Guardians fan or Indians back in the day, and they played them in the playoffs this year. And I'm not a big baseball fan. Like, if my team does well, then I kind of care. But, like, I knew we were playing the Yankees. And I was like, oh, we're done for. But we got up like
put up a good fight.
We put up a good fight. And then, like, I saw the Yankees fans, like, talking shit. I was like, fuck, now I have to actually, like, care because, like, I want to, like, talk my shit.
Yeah, because you want to beat them.
When we win.
Oh, they're the worst. They're the worst. Yankees fans listening, you know you're the worst. You know you're... And this is the great thing about being an Astros fan right now. They can't say shit to us. They can't say shit. It's been like a 6-year run. We owned them. And there is nothing like owning the Yankees. It's like owning the Patriots in the NFL. Like, you just, like, it's the winningest franchise historically, but they haven't done dick recently, and it's so nice. So they can't chirp.
Just living in the past.
Yeah, they're just sad, angry little people. And, like, talking shit to Guardians fans? Come on, guys. Come on. Let the record show, by the way, that Bolen Media covers the cost of all in-flight Wi-Fi for traveling employees who are trying to get some work done on the plane. That's why we are a championship organization, and the Yankees are not. It's truly sad, though. You got to imagine everybody on the Yankees team plane spending the first 10 minutes of every flight trying to connect to the Wi-Fi for $9, and then it stops working most of the flight anyway. That's what always happens to me. I cough up the $9, and the Wi-Fi goes down within 20 minutes.
Yeah, I've had that a couple of times when, like, I'll just, like, watch a movie, and, like, it just shits out on me, I get so upset.
Dude, it's
I
the worst.
And then like I can't listen to music on my phone either.
Nope. And then I spend the rest of the time wishing I had downloaded a movie or some music or like downloaded some of the games that I used to have on my phone, because I used to have like 30 games on my phone, like Angry Birds
I still
and
got
shit.
Games, yeah.
Yeah, see, I got to the point where I was looking through my phone one day and I was like, I haven't played any of these games in like 3 years. I'm just going to delete them. I was like decluttering my mental space, which is technically my phone now.
Yeah.
And I deleted them all. And then the next flight I was on, I didn't have any in-flight Wi-Fi, and then I didn't have any games. And I just sat there thinking about how the asshole in front of me leaned their chair back an extra 3 inches.
And then you got the guy next to you eating ribs.
And the guy next to me was eating a big plate of ribs, and I was just miserable. Absolutely horrible mistake. Yeah. Anyway, Yankees suck. Speaking of hashtag sports, March Madness is upon us. And if you're a sports bettor looking for a place to get some action during this most action-packed month of the year, or you want to make your picks at a place that supports our podcast, mybookie.ag is the way to go. And today's episode is brought to you by MyBookie. What a coincidence. Oh, wow. Just use code ROSS upon sign up to unlock a deposit bonus. Stipulations apply, and you'll get even more dough to throw at the tournament this March. Knowing absolutely dog shit about college basketball, I basically took to Twitter to like field a series of picks last night, and I somehow started the tournament by winning all 4 bets I placed on night 1 on the play-in games, which will probably never happen again, but it felt great. Not really a college basketball guy, but fucking love March Madness. MyBookie has all the March Madness prop bets, live lines, alternate lines, and futures that you could possibly need. And right now, if you join the MyBookie family using the code ROSS at checkout to support the show, you'll instantly receive a deposit bonus, giving you even more dough to throw at your favorite sporting event. So what are you waiting for? If you're already betting on sports elsewhere and you're down to do so on a great platform that also supports your favorite pod, code ROSS at mybookie.ag is the way to do it, folks. Just use code ROSS to unlock that deposit bonus. Stipulations apply. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. So when I asked Twitter what they wanted to talk about on the show today, one dude simply replied, "Have you ever had abs?" And I didn't really know. I didn't know what he meant. Like I thought maybe it was like ABS, like some type of a
like some
acronym for something. I didn't know. It turned into like a weird back and forth that caused me to forget what initiated the conversation in the first place. I replied, "The stomach muscles?" And he said, "Yeah." And I replied, "I mean, they exist, but I've never had a six-pack." And he asked, "Do you think you could have them?" And I replied, "Probably. Never really tried, but I have a newborn, so the odds that happens now are very, very slim." And I said, "This is such a weird conversation." And he replied, "Yeah, I pictured it going more towards unrealistic expectations for fitness and like priorities and self-confidence as people grow up. But like, here we are." Anyway, this awkward back and forth unfolded, and it occurred to me that abs are probably the most common version of body dysmorphia, or whatever it's called, that men deal with, right? Because it's been long debated that the media portrays women's beauty standards in an unrealistic light, and as a result, negatively impacts young girls in particular by showing like only one body type, or only ridiculously skinny women, or only big boobs, or only perfect lips, or whatever it may be. But this is the most common one that men bump into. It's abs, right? Like abs or being tall probably, but I'm tall, so that one has never really bothered me. But anyway, the point is this. I've never had abs, and I've always been a little sad about that on some level. Like sometimes I'll look in the mirror after a workout when I'm getting ready to shower, and after a workout that included like a whopping 30 crunches, and I'll flex my stomach as hard as I can, and I'm always disappointed with the results. But the truth is, getting abs, like a real six-pack, like really developing your abs like a dude on the cover of Men's Health magazine, that shit just takes far too much dedication and work. Like ab workouts, for one, suck ass, man. They're the most uncomfortable version of any workout. Like, you know when you're doing squats and your legs burn, or you're doing shoulder press and your shoulder, it's like that good burn that lets you know, like, I am tearing down and building back stronger. Ab workouts just make me feel like something's wrong, like physically wrong with me.
Right. Yeah.
Like the burning in my gut.
And like I work out like a lot. Like I'm very.
You're a big gym guy.
Yeah, and I never do abs just because like I just like they suck. I hate doing them. I hate like I don't feel great after doing them ever. Like it's like it physically hurts. Like
that soreness the next day.
It like doesn't
is
go
terrible.
away for until like the next day you do it.
Well, it makes me feel like I'm getting sick. Like it's like when my legs are sore, I know, oh, my legs are sore because I did a leg workout.
Yeah, like I hit legs really hard. But
when
like,
my stomach is sore, I'm like, am I getting ill? Did I eat something that didn't sit right?
I do 10 sit-ups and like I start to feel like, this doesn't feel great.
There's also like 7,000 different strategies for abs. Like it's sort of like how in nutrition they're like, oh, this year milk is bad for you. Oh, now 2 glasses of wine is good for your heart. Oh, you shouldn't eat eggs. Those cause cancer now or whatever. You know what I'm saying. I'm just throwing out random examples. But ab workouts, it's like there's always a new way you're supposed to do crunches that like doesn't hurt your back or actually better targets your lowest 3 abs or your highest 3 abs or the middle section or whatever the fuck.
And that's just like the thing about just like working out in general is like there's just like so many variables and like there's like variations to like exercises and stuff and like it's just like too much and like
it's impossible to keep up with, man.
Yeah.
It's like how I've said before, like it's insane that every year golf companies are like, and here's our newest driver. We reinvented the driver for the 600th time. You've got to buy this one though, or you'll be shit at golf. Workouts are constantly evolving. Where they're like, and this is the new way you're supposed to do this and this and this. It's just like, fuck, dude, I can't keep up with all this. It's like if you wanted to be that healthy all the time, you have to dedicate yourself to it like 95% of your waking hours.
Yeah, like I could have abs if I wanted to, but I just like beer too much.
I could have abs if I wanted to, but I just like food too much. Like that's the other thing. Yeah. Like the ab workouts are shit. And then on top of that, it is true what they say, abs are made in the kitchen. Like that's the couple of times that I've gotten close where I like looked in the mirror and went, holy shit, I've 1 ab definition. Like I can see 1 square in there. Like that was when I was eating super healthy for like a month straight. Like where I didn't break a single day. Like I didn't have any fast food, any soda. Like I just ate healthy shit. And it was when I was coming off meds and I was like really, really consciously trying to put only the most like nutritionally sound things into my body to help out with my brain. Really, that was my main reasoning. And that was the only time I got close to having legitimate abs because I was doing right in the kitchen. But apparently the food that I love to consume is not 6-pack friendly.
No, not great for yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one time I like probably had like the most defined abs was like senior year of high school. Because like I mean like my metabolism was
see, and that doesn't
crazy.
Count.
Yeah,
that doesn't even count.
I was getting getting fed probably by my parents and stuff, and like I was playing sports and all that, so I was just like very fit at the time.
Yeah.
Then after college, it just goes to shit.
Yeah, there's just one photo of me and my brother on the beach when I'm like 15 years old and I was still in high school baseball and we had like 6 a.m. workouts all summer, which was fucking insane, by the way. Totally unnecessary. What the fuck, coach?
Well, your opponent is starting earlier than you.
It's ridiculous. No, he's not. No, he's not.
And why does it matter?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter when they're working out versus where we're working out. If they were doing fucking, honestly, didn't they end up doing like a scientific study that says like the fucking teenager's brain doesn't even start functioning until 9 a.m. or something like that? Like it was just insane. But our coach was a Vietnam War veteran who did not give a fuck. He was a crazy person. No disrespect to Vietnam vets. Thank you for your service. But this particular guy was a goddamn lunatic. He came back scarred and he took it out on the kids. And I was one of them. But there's this photo of me when I was like 15 in high school on the beach with my brother. And I have like abs, but I have abs because I'm so fucking skinny, because I'm like going through puberty. And like you said, my metabolism was through the goddamn roof. And I was only eating things being fed to me by my parents. And I had a psychotic coach who was making me get up at 6 a.m. and do fucking workouts. Yeah. So it was like they were like skinny abs, you know what I mean? Right. There's like a difference between like a strong 6-pack because you worked out really hard and like being so skinny that we can see your abdomen muscles.
Right. Yeah. And I like kind of like why I don't do ab workouts is because of like the psychotic coach. Like my weights coach, like back in high school, was the absolute worst. He gave like half the kids back problems that they'll deal with for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And like after every workout, we like had to do core at the end. And it was just fucking miserable. And like they're like, oh, you gotta like get your butt up more, like, like all this dumb shit. I'm just like, and like you said, it's 6 a.m. Like, I don't want to fucking be here right now. Like if I wanted to do core, I can do core, but like I don't want to be forced to do something and like have you yell at me on top of that. Like that's not gonna make me more motivated to do that.
So you don't have abs now as a 25-year-old because when you were 15, your coach was a dick. And that might sound insane, but I completely sympathize. That's like half the reason I don't do things I'm supposed to do, because my high school baseball coach was a dick. Like, I don't pay my taxes on time because my high school baseball coach was a dick. I don't like being told what to do in general. I don't even have, like, a general problem with authority. Like I've said on the show before, every time I've been arrested, totally respectful. I did try to run a couple of times, but once I get caught, totally respectful. I don't have a general problem with authority. It's that I have a problem with being told what to do by people I don't like. That's what I have a problem with. And no one more than my high school baseball coach, who to this day, if I saw in public, I think I would try to fight.
Dude, my when I had my open house, my weights coach came to it, but I didn't give him an invite. I don't know how the fuck he found out about it. And all he gave me was like a card with like a Bible verse in it.
Wait, when you had your what?
My open house, like, you know how like when you graduate, like you have an open house?
No, what is that?
It's just like you get.
I know what an open house is from the standpoint of like when you're trying to sell your house, you have an open house and people can come see the house.
Like a grad party. You didn't have one of those?
I mean, it wasn't like a thing that everybody did. Like somebody would host like a graduation party and like everybody would go to that one. But you're saying that like every kid had a thing called an open house?
Yeah, so like a bunch of like your friends and family like would come and like, you know, they like some would like give you like money or whatever or like gifts.
But everybody did this?
Yeah, like everyone in my high school did that.
Like had their own open house.
And like,
and is it like on one day that everybody does it and everybody
like,
goes from house to house?
There'd be like weekends where like a ton of people would have them. Like there's one day like me and my friends had to go to like 7 in a day. It was fucking rough.
So you just like stop by, give your gift, say hi to everybody, and then head to the next one?
Mm-hmm,
Wait, but your coach showed up without an invite.
Yeah, I didn't tell him about it, and all he gave me was a card with like some Bible verse in it. I'm like, okay, thank you, fuck off.
What a fucking trip.
Yeah.
I still remember my high school baseball coach after one of our summer meetings. Like he had all the players and all the parents come. It was like a parents' night or something where he tells everybody, it's like a motivational deal. He's like, this is what we're going to do with your kids this summer. And he was like, you know, basically like, we're going to take your boys and we're going to turn them into men, like shit like that, like the most cliche nonsense you've ever heard in your life. And I remember, I still to this day, like I can see his face as after the official meeting ended, he was like going around and making individual pitches to parents on like growth hormone and steroids. Like basically being like, you know, if you want to take shit to the next level, like we've got a guy we can hook you up with that will give you some supplements that your kid can take that will really like up his performance.
It's just some guy in the back of a van with like a stick a needle in your
dude,
ass.
I genuinely remember being like, he's talking about steroids right now. Like I know he's talking about steroids. What the fuck else would he be talking about? Like,
right.
It's ridiculous. And the one guy on our team that was like a noted roid head, he was so covered in acne from head to toe, front to back, like it was the most disgusting thing. But he was so gigantic, like it was so obvious. It could not have been more obvious that this dude was juicing. And he was so awkwardly built as a result that he couldn't really do shit in the field, and he couldn't even really swing accurately. But if he made contact with the ball,
it was out of there.
It was a problem.
It was gone forever.
It was never being seen again. It was like genuinely dangerous if you were like the third baseman who had to play up or something when this guy was hitting. Like you didn't want that job. He would kill you. But yeah, anyway, fuck our high school coaches. Fuck those guys. And fuck ab workouts too. I think if I had ever struggled mightily with the fairer sex, I probably would have worked harder to get real abs. But as Kodak Black said, I got too much money, ain't doing no sit-ups. Speaking of money, veteran free agent QB Andy Dalton is apparently signing with the Carolina Panthers on a 2-year, $10 million deal that includes $8 million fully guaranteed. And I think everyone listening is probably thinking the same thing, that he would have gotten all $10 million guaranteed if I hadn't struck him out in high school baseball. Sad.
So I almost had a moment like this too. There's a quarterback in my conference in high school, and he was an Elite 11 quarterback, which is like one of the top like quarterbacks in the nation. He went on to like play at Michigan. So like Elite 11 is like dudes like Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence and like top of the line dudes. And
like the highest star recruits.
Yeah, and my freshman year, the dude's name was Brandon Peters, and I picked him off my freshman year when we played him. They ended up beating us 35-0, but like I picked him off, and like I knew he was gonna like play at Michigan. I thought he was gonna be like #1 draft pick, shit like that.
Yeah.
And so I was just like waiting for that moment for him to get drafted so I could drop
so you
the
could
line.
say you picked him off?
Yeah, pick him off, like showed the film and all that, and then like he transferred to like Illinois after, and then like was never heard from again. I'm like, damn, I almost had that moment too. It was a real shame.
Could have had your Andy Dalton, dude.
Yeah.
Shout out to Andy Dalton though, man. He's still getting money.
Still getting paid.
Dude, $8 million guaranteed. That's nothing to shake your dick at.
On the Panthers too. So he's gonna be a backup too. I don't know who the Panthers are getting, but
yeah, no, he's a great backup though.
Yeah.
Like honestly, he's probably like the best backup in the league. Like as an option, I mean, I would much prefer him to every backup the Texans have ever had.
Right.
For the most part, minus TJ Yates, local hero. He won our first playoff game. TJ Yates. Shout out to TJ Yates of North Carolina fame. That'll do it for today's show. Thank you all for being here, for listening to the show and supporting us. To check out our other shows, go to bolenmedia.com. Hit bolenmedia.com/shop to grab yourself some RBP merch. I will be back with an ad-free premium episode available to those of you who are supporting the show on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast this Friday. Subscribe on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast to immediately gain access to 150 premium ad-free episodes from the last few years. I don't know how many there are. There are a shitload, and you get them all when you sign up today at patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast for as little as $5 a month. We drop a new ad-free exclusive episode weekly on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast, and there are usually 4 weeks in a month. So that's like $1.25 per exclusive premium ad-free episode if you sign up in the $5 tier. What a deal. You'll never find a better deal in the whole world, probably in your whole life. Patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. Also, please support our sponsors by hitting the links in the description of this episode and using our dedicated codes. That is how we pay the bills here at Bolen Media outside of our Patreon. Today's show was brought to you by magicmind.co/RBP, code RBP20 for up to 56% off your subscription for the next 10 days or 20% off one-time purchases. Talkspace.com, code RBP to get $100 off your first month. MyBookie.ag, code Ross to unlock a deposit bonus and throw down on the tournament all month long. This episode of the Ross Bolen Podcast is presented by Bolen Media. Video of today's show was produced by none other than the man sitting directly to my right, Mr. Cade Orris. Follow Cade at Cade Orris on Twitter and Instagram. Follow me at WR Bolen. Follow the show at The Ross Bolen Podcast on TikTok, at The Ross Bolen Podcast on Instagram, at Ross Bolen Pod on Twitter. Until next time, peace be with you and also with you.